The interesting thing, I was reflecting on this. Survival, I felt like I was in survival for so long. I felt like survival was my life. And, I grew up in what you call the hood, back of town in Bermuda. Both of my parents were addicts. I didn't really know that I was in survival mode until maybe like my teenage years, where things were a little bit more visceral and dramatic. But yeah, survival mode.
I don't think that we talk openly enough about the residual impacts of trauma, how it shows up in our lives, and what it takes to move beyond that.
I was poor, I was black, I was short, I was intelligent and nerdy, I suppose. I didn't feel safe in my home. I didn't feel safe in my Bermudian community. And yeah, on a small island like Bermuda, 8 people in a 1.5 bedroom house. So my father's girlfriend had children, and then my father had kids with her. So I describe it as Cinderella, like I was in that house. I hated it. I really wasn't being taken care of. There was a lot of kind of psychological and physical abuse there. I just remember walking down the street with no shoes on, blistering hot sun, and I just felt like my feet were cooking, right? But it was like a form of self-harm and taking me out of my body, because I think my father had just slapped me or something and told me go outside. And so I was walking down the road and I was praying. I just like looked up to the sky and I was just like, I need help, get me out of here. And Bermuda's so small. I'm not knowing that I'm bumping into people that my father knows. And anyway, so like he beat me again really badly in Barkley, kicked me like across the floor like a soccer ball, really. I mean, I was screaming, and then I had to go to school in my winter uniform to cover up all the welts and the like marks on my arm. I was homeless in New York. I was there during 9/11, but I was happy. I was happy to be homeless. I ended up coming back to Bermuda. My addiction led me to go to prison basically in Bermuda. That was just wild. I was like one of the only visible gay guys in Bermuda at the time, particularly coming from the hood. So when I went up to prison, they were like monkeys on the bars. Like you never know what you're capable of until you're put in these situations. Like I just thought about all the abuse that I suffered from my father and just like growing up. And I was like, yeah, I just lost my mind. Like I will fight you back and I will go to the lengths that I have to go to. I said, if I don't get off this island, I'm going to harm myself or somebody else or go back to prison. I'm 9 years clean now. So I'll be 10 years clean and sober from drugs and alcohol next May. But yeah, from that moment, I kind of got myself together, but I almost died. The pain becomes purpose, right? So I'm kind of using my story and using my lived experiences to kind of like help my community and shine lights on different issues through my lived experience.
We can't always heal in the same places that we've been hurt. We have to also learn how to forgive ourselves. Like you spoke about your like the decisions that you made that probably amplified the addiction, amplified what that looked like for you because like you're kind of just stuck in your head until we are able to challenge these narratives, challenge our thoughts. We just repeat the same patterns and habits because everything's recycled.
I have to go back to the source to get that last level of healing, to kind of really show up, to kind of assert myself in a new way, to be vulnerable, to access that power through vulnerability in my own community. I know you don't remember me, right? But I was coming out of the gym and he said, I was really like nasty to you in high school. And gosh, it was just, and he said, I apologize.
And you raise an interesting point because some people think that the absence of triggers is healing, but it's not. I feel like we don't get to be ourselves in Bermuda, especially growing up, we're kind of conditioned to be a certain way that is acceptable by others. And being able to leave and come back, that space of leaving and being able to find ourselves and step into our authenticity unapologetically. And
I take him into the store to get him food or whatever, but just how I'm like authentic, I mean, like really handling him like a human being, like seeing past, because I'm like, I've been there.
It's a problem for all of us. Trauma is a problem for all of us. Addiction's a problem for all of us. The gang violence is a problem for all of us. And we all have a level of responsibility, whether or not we accept it or not, to try to find a solution, to try to work towards a solution collectively.
So the thing about healing is like I'm not responsible for the trauma that was inflicted onto me, but I am responsible for my healing. I'll never forget the most genuine look in his eyes where he was just like, son, this is not an excuse. What you're saying, the things that you're saying are horrible. He's like, but I'm telling you the truth. I remember nothing of what you're saying. I was an addict because I realized what it was doing to me, right? I realized how poisonous that resentment and that bitterness, what it was doing to me. But what I said is, I forgive you, but I will not forget, right? We will not forget. Anger is healthy. But when you're consumed by that type of anger where it's a burning kind of like rage and whatnot, there's no value in that. That doesn't do nothing. If I can put that in my recycling plant and make that anger work for me, meaning it propels me into my healing and to going to seek therapy and to going to work through that trauma and stuff, then it has use.
People push forgiveness of others and without recognizing how detrimental it can be to the person who hasn't yet healed, who hasn't yet been seen and understood.
I cannot really pour into you or my community unless my cup is full. Everything that pours over is for other people in my community. That raw, real kind of space where vulnerability is seen as power rather than as weakness, and actually showing like that turning that pain into purpose.
This isn't about fixing yourself. This is about finding yourself again beneath the rubble.